Welcome everybody to another episode of Meet Me in Napa. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for all the great feedback, all the love, the DMs, the emails, the text messages. I'm excited to continue to bring this great content here to Napa Valley. And I have a special guest here today, Miss Tish Wiggins and Tish Around Town, AKA. She's going to tell you all about herself. She's amazing. I couldn't do justice to try to just lay down your whole bio right now because you've done so much. And so thank you for joining me here today. How you doing?
Of course. Amazing.
Okay.
Amazing.
Yeah,
it's an amazing day.
So first of all, before we even get to your awesomeness and your story, we have empty glasses of wine.
And
we have amazing wine around here. And we have a special gentleman here who needs no introduction, Mr. Matt Stamp. Thank you. He's going to pour some wine. Can you tell us what we're having?
Yeah, Jeremy. So this is the 2021 Gruner Veltliner Federspiel from Emmerich Knoll. So it's kind of a mouthful. It's an Austrian white wine with the most deeply unfashionable "It's Cool Again" label. We refer to it as the Exploding Jesus.
Oh, wow.
Exploding Jesus. That's what I'm talking about.
Patron saint of winemaking in Austria. So great lunchtime white wine.
Thank you very much, Matt.
Cheers.
You haven't made it until a master psalm pours you wine, okay? You just haven't.
Just know.
Enjoy the wine, Tish.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Yeah.
Let's cheers to a great conversation today.
Yes,
I'm excited.
Yes.
I'm excited. Oh, wow.
That's amazing.
Woo. Zinging. That's a fun tasting of zinging.
Yeah, that's
zipping,
good. That's good.
Yes, a lot of great acidity, which coming in, I was like, man, I want something that's high acidic, fun, so to be able to have some Gruner early in the morning, it is morning time.
Yeah, it is morning time.
It's morning, guys. So this is great morning wine.
But like we said at the barbershop, it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Somewhere.
Yeah,
Somewhere. It's always time to have a glass of wine. We live in Napa.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah. So, I'm getting used to starting my days off like this, but don't.
No, not out of a habit perspective, not a bad thing. But, to be able to have a glass of bubbles maybe in the morning or Riesling or even something like a Gruner, a light white, nice rosé or something like that. Maybe like brunch or I love bagels.
Yes.
Bagels, lox and bagels and some champagne with some caviar. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So those are the reasons to drink wine. You got to pair. You got to pair the food.
And plenty more, right?
Yes.
So Tish, tell us about who you are. We met. I'm just gonna give where did we actually meet the first time I met you? I can't remember.
I think it was here at one of my Vino and Vinyl events. I think that was the very first time, or it would have been at Chef Leilani's place for our Women in Wine event we had there. I can't remember.
It was one of the two.
It was one of the two. So it was this time last year. So we're a year in.
But instantly, I remember when we first met you and Lynn, and your energy was amazing, and I was like, "Who this sister?" You know what I'm saying? With this nappy hair, I was like, "Okay, I need that." And then you came to the barbershop, and then you let me be your barber, and I was
my barber. And everybody always laugh and be like, I was like, "Yeah, your hair looks nice." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going into this natural phase." And I was like, they was like, "Who cuts your hair?" And I said, "Oh, my barber." And they was like, "He black in Napa?" And I'll be like, "Yes, he is black in Napa." So I do have a black barber in Napa. So
yes,
thank you.
No, thank you. It means a lot because, coming out here, my journey here, which this is not my story, but my journey here, just enter into spaces sometimes where we don't have a cultural relevance in, right?
Yep.
And I took that upon myself to always. I got it from my parents to always enter into places. It doesn't matter that a lot of people don't look like you.
Yep.
You got to come in as if you belong there.
Yep.
And you deserve to be there like anybody else, right?
Yep.
And the community here is so accepting.
Yep.
They're so loving. I mean, look where we are.
Yep.
I mean, we're if you know anything about Compline, this is voted the number one wine shop in the Valley, right? And to me, it's probably in California.
Award-winning restaurant. Award-winning restaurant. And I'm also blessed to even call, Matt Stamp and Ryan, call those guys even partners for me. So I've had the pleasure of hosting my Vino and Vinyl event here. So partnering with them to be able to host an event here. Right. I did about 5 or 6 of them next year. We got 4 on deck.
They're really fun.
Yeah, they're always fun.
I ain't just saying that because I like you.
But imagine, you have amazing vino. know. And then what's dope about the wine shop here, and it's just not just a wine shop, it's a tasting room too. So you have the opportunity to also come in here and hear some, play some amazing vinyl, you know. So, when I first came in and I moved here, I resonated to this place. And then I was able to build a relationship with the gentleman here. And then to be able to call them partners is such a blessing. More than just a friend, more than just an ally, whatever you want to use for a term. But at the same time, just to be able to partner with different people all throughout the valley. That's what's made, Tish Around Town successful thus far, and continuing to be able to grow in this community.
Yeah, it's really dope. So tell us a little bit about your journey before you got to the valley and what you're doing in the valley. Like where's Tish from? Where were you born? What's
all right, so
I met your mama, and I gotta let mama know I love you, even though you got on me about LeBron James. I'm sorry, she got on my head about LeBron James. I thought we was cool. No. Then I said something about LeBron, and she switched on me real quick. I said, okay.
Let me tell you, mama don't play about. So the going joke in the family, and I always say this, is that my mom would trade me for LeBron James. LeBron James say, "Give her up and I'll be your son." I think she would think about it. She wouldn't do it maybe, but she'd think about it. And
I gotta make it clear. I love LeBron too, because on one of my other episodes we were having the whole LeBron Warriors like discussion, Steph Curry. And it doesn't. I don't want to come off as a LeBron hater. You know what I mean? I love LeBron. He's just what he's done as a man, his family.
Yes.
He has held and what he's done exceptionally well. You can't find another story of someone who's walked into the life he's walked into at that age. And go this long without, without anything crazy. You know what I mean?
Anything crazy.
Life isn't perfect for anyone. But he's handled his mantle very well. Like a king.
Yes.
Like a king, he was anointed.
Yep. So, and I definitely, like I said, she is the biggest fan. So shout out, Mom. Yeah. Shout out to LeBron James.
You. All my banter is basketball talk. It ain't nothing personal.
She's a Dwayne Wade fan. My mom is like old school. She loved her basketball.
Okay.
So that's why she got on your head. That's why she got on you really
bad. I took it
too. Because she got on you really bad.
Yeah, she did. All right, well, tell us about yourself.
Right. Okay, so story about Tish. Basically, I was born in Cleveland, Ohio. I'm a 72 baby, so I'll tell anybody. I'm not a woman that's bashful about her age or don't say anything. I'm 52 years old, so I always say that I'm very blessed to say that I am 52 years old, and I'm still here on this side of the earth. I was born in 72, but I was born in Cleveland, Ohio. We moved to Texas when I was like in the 4th grade.
Okay.
And so I was pretty much raised in Dallas. From Dallas, I went to college. I went to Grambling State University. Go Tigers.
I had a Grambling pullover when I was in the 8th grade.
The
starter one.
Yeah,
got it for Christmas.
Look at that. Okay, so I love that. HBCU vibes was just coming into the home. So when I'm proud graduate of Grambling State University. After Grambling, I majored in computer information systems. So for 25 plus years, I've worked in kind of the fintech area. So I've worked in the banking industry, doing project management, doing projects for $1 billion budgets and yada, 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 yada. From there, I moved to Atlanta. I lived in Atlanta for 17 years. So I'll tell anyone I adulted in Atlanta. And Tish Around Town was founded in Atlanta.
Now, what was adulting in Atlanta like?
Boy, you better ask somebody.
Tell us what adulting. You got to get. Okay, let's. You got to have another sip before you tell that story, huh?
Boy, I was in Atlanta when Atlanta was Atlanta. So and I lived in Atlanta. I lived in the suburbs some, but before I left, I lived in the city.
What were the years? What were the
I was
year
there
you got
from 2000 to 2017.
So you caught the whole wave.
Oh no, I was
That's
there.
Like Ludacris, Jermaine Dupri,
all the restaurants, all the
Total. Not Total. Escape.
I mean everything.
The food scene.
The food scene. I watched Atlanta.
That's when Atlanta was coming alive. That's when it. But that's when it was beginning to peaking. It began to peak with the culture, music. Everybody wanted to be there.
I mean, I watched Atlanta literally grow. You know, Yeah, and then the individuals who are now like running the city are friends of mine, and so I watched them grow.
You weren't in that Freaknik doc, were you?
No, I wasn't in the doc. I wasn't in the doc. I did. I didn't make the doc. I wasn't Freaknik though.
Okay.
I wasn't Freaknik. I did go 1 year, but I didn't make the doc.
All right.
Amen. I didn't want to embarrass my mama.
I don't want that to come out after I drop the episode.
They be like, here she go. I did go though. I did go. Okay. I can't say.
Okay.
So, yes. But like basically, Tish Around Town was born in Atlanta. So in 2014, I started Tish Around Town. Tish Around Town just turned 10-year anniversary last year. So Tish Around Town started out as a blog, and it was a blog that basically centered on like, what was Tish doing around town? I was always around town. I was always the person that everyone would be like, so where to go? What's the new restaurant? What's to this? What's to that? Because I was always around town. I like to explore. I like to, like great food. And then my love for food turned into kind of my love for wine. And so as time went on, I was also, starting to travel. We starting to get the little duckies. We getting grown all of that kind of stuff. I'm getting in my 30s and 40s. I'm starting to do some international travel, and I'm just really just enjoying life. And so during that time, that's when kind of my love for wine started. So in 2018, 2019, I got certified in wine. So I did my WSET 2. And
while you were in Atlanta?
No, while I was in Atlanta.
Okay.
Yep, while I was in Atlanta. Between Atlanta and Dallas at that time. But I done my WSET 2, and I really just dug in. And at that time, I'll be honest, I really was doing the wine educational side really for myself personally. I just wanted to be a better steward over when I was out drinking. I can come into a wine shop and be able to, pick out a bottle of wine. I can read the labels. And it was really selfishly for me. But because I had Tish Around Town and I was always sharing, your followers go with you on your journey.
You kind of became an educator with
just because of what I was doing. Just because of what I was doing and what I wanted to share, And so, and your followers kind of gauge your content for you, and they'll let you know when they want more of something or when they want less of something. Know by them likes, by them comments, by them DMs. I mean, you know. And so as I started to really go on my own personal journey with wine, I realized I also had some followers along with me that were interested in learning more about wine. And honestly, that's when the wine educator was born. That's when I wanted to make sure that people that look like me, and other people too, don't get me wrong, but other people too, but mainly people that look like me, if you want to know more about wine, I want to be able to help you. I always want to consider Tish Around Town a safe place to land for everyone.
I like that.
For everyone, because I want wine to be accessible. I want wine to be approachable. And then I want, if it's some exclusivities and stuff to it, we deserve that too. So I want to take us behind some of these walls that sometimes we think we can't get behind. But guess what? You got a sister that can get you behind them walls. Don't play.
I mean, it's true because you were here. I've been here, just a few years longer than you, but by the time I met you, like you were in the mix of what you were doing, and I was like, man, like I said when I first saw, I was like, who's this sister? She's doing her thing, and I started following you, and I was like, oh, she, you were really connected, and you a hustler, and I love that. That's what I loved when I first met you. Like, you a hustler, you're a personality, you are a brand, and I hope that it goes through the roof.
Yep.
But that was one of the things that I noticed right away. I was like, no, she's a hustler, but you. When I say a hustler, not in a negative,
kind of sense.
Not in a negative way. You just about your business, and you're boots to the ground, and you just genuine and heartfelt about what you do. You're passionate, and it bleeds out of you.
Yep.
it just bleeds out of you. You love what you do.
I tell people, I didn't move across country to sit over here and twiddle my thumbs. So I moved to Napa in March of 2023, so I just celebrated 2-year anniversary being here. And for me, I came out here with with 2 suitcases in my wine suitcase. Can't go nowhere without your wine suitcase. 2 suitcases in my wine suitcase. I shipped a car, and I rented a room, and I figured it out from there. And it's nowhere else on the planet right now today where I would want to be able to call home. And I'll be honest, funny enough, I never thought I would like California because people were like, I can't believe you moving to California. I was like, girl, I'm moving to Napa. Because I actually had them kind of disassociated from each other in my mind. I was like,
it kind of is.
It kind of is in its way. But, you know, honestly, I would always just say, I'll be like, yeah, I mean, I'm going to go out here and I'm going to grow my business, you know, and then I want to be able to live maybe bi-coastal or come into the region when I want to. But then within 6 weeks to 2 months of living here, and I was like, oh no, I want to call this place home, you know? And from there, it became home. It became a place that I wanted to be really a part of the community here. And, you know, and luckily enough, the wine community here is uncanny. I mean, I think people forget that it's an agriculture town. So at the end of the day, you know, this is boots on the ground. Folks are farmers, they're agriculture. I mean, so people sometimes don't let all the glitz and glamour fool you, the high hotel rates and the this. And, you know, you go to the tasting rooms and the she and the foo. Mind you, we get that. And it's great. But this is an agriculture town. Yeah,
it's still small town.
It's still small town. Everyone knows everyone. You walk down the street and people are yelling your name, and hey, people invite you over to dinner. I mean, it's so small town, and I never would have thought.
I tell people all the time, you know, when you drive to Reno, they have a sign when you get in that says the biggest little city on earth, and I think that they need to tear that down and ship it to Napa. Because this is really the biggest little city on earth. It is so big, and not just in reach and popularity and just the influence.
The influence.
It's just a lot. So, real quick before we go deeper in, give me your perspective or your experience between the Atlanta wine scene when you got into it, and then when you came to Napa. What was the difference in like your experience between the two?
So interesting enough, I would say that for all intents and purposes, Atlanta's a cocktail city.
Okay.
So they're growing in the wine scene. Like you can find it, right? So there are amazing wine shops. Like, you know, shout out to Three Parks. You know, shout out to Purple Corkscrew. You know, so those are like, you know, black owned, you know, wine shops, tasting rooms, things like that. There are places there that you can do from an experience perspective and enjoy. There are great wines that are curated wine lists. They have some great somms that are, you know, over the beverage programs and stuff. So you can find wine, but it's nothing like being in Napa. I don't think it's not too many cities that can compare to actually physically being here in Napa. We got all these amazing Michelin star restaurants. We have award-winning somms that have amazing wine programs. I mean, you're in a bottle shop that has everything from all across the world, you know, moderately priced to still great pricing. So, you know, to be able to live in Napa, of course, you get palate fatigue, you know, with drinking cab all the time. You know what I'm saying? You get palate fatigue. I mean, you can only drink so much Cabernet Sauvignon. But you can come to a wine shop like this, you can come to Compliment, and now I can get my white Burgundy. I can have my Gruder. You know, I can have, you know, a Chablis and things like that. So it's just nothing. It's hard to compare Napa's wine scene to another city. Now, if you compared Dallas to Atlanta, then that's a different conversation. Atlanta, totally different than Dallas, because Texas in general is the second largest consumer of California wines behind California.
Okay.
They drink so much cab. I mean, it's 120 degrees, and I'm like, you sure you want a Cabernet Sauvignon? You really? Really? I'm hot, but you ordering that. You know what I'm saying? Like, why are you even ordering that? That's crazy. But they drink their cab. It comes out of their blood. They love it. So the wine scene from city to city will change, but I don't think it's really hard to compare any city to the experience here in Napa.
Yeah. So you have your Tish Around Town, which is that. So that brand was it was created prior to moving here, and that was just facilitated by you just popping. Right. You know what I mean? You just popping, and everybody knows. If I want to know what's going on, we're gonna ask Tish, right? So now your brand now being in Napa seems to be a focal point for women in particular, and not only women but especially Black women, and just of all cultures. to tap into the valley. Like, hey, if we have a wine brand, if I'm a female winemaker, if I'm a female just wine drinker, right? You kind of have become the person to get connected with to find out what's going on. How was that transition for you? So you say you came out here, rented a room, shipped your car, decided you love it like everybody else does,
Right.
But what was the next step in the journey? What did that look like?
So the next step in the journey for me was interesting. I first came out here like, okay, here's my business plan. Yay. And then I was just like, 2 months in, I was like, tear that one up. Okay, I got to figure out where do I fit into this place and space, right? So even coming out here, there are kind of three pillars that holds up Tish Around Town brand. And the three pillars are women in wine, BIPOC in wine, and smaller producers.
Explain the BIPOC.
Just Black, Indigenous, people of color.
Okay.
So basically, basically, people of color in wine being able to make sure that their brands are being, supported and things like that. And then at the same time, smaller producers. I always say between those three pillars, you're kind of going to find Tish Around Town somewhere in that. Because when it comes to women in wine, wine is a male-dominated field. And sometimes we do need that extra little voice behind you. Like, go girl, you got this. Come on, you look at that bottle, but a chick made this. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's something special. That's something to sometimes be able to call out. Same thing when it comes to BIPOC. I'm a person of color, African-American woman in wine. And so, sometimes somebody being able to say, oh, Tish, she's also a person of color too. Oh, wow, I didn't know that Black people live in Napa, they say. All these funny things.
I get that often. Yeah.
We get that in Napa? In Napa? Yes. You want my zip code?
Yeah.
Yes, in Napa, so it's things like that. And then when it comes to smaller producers, I have a passion for finding these smaller producers, these, we make 1,000 cases of this. And you're watching their passion. When you talked about my passion, you're watching their passion. You're hearing their stories. So between all of those three pillars, I like to hear the stories and share the stories of that. So, having a Celebration Women of Wine, that event series is like, okay, that's one of my pillars, right? And so then I'm able to also highlight smaller producers within that. Then I'm also able to highlight, some women of color, some women of color all at the same time, and then I may have something that is, BIPOC driven, and so those are the, kind of realms that I try to stay around. If I'm going to shout from a mountaintop, my mountaintop is going to be within those three pillars. Now, the larger producers, they're great, and I do shine light on them. Even if I'm planning tours and things like that, I put larger producers on there at the same time. But sometimes they don't need my voice from a mountaintop. They got a big old budget, but they can write me a check. I take a check.
We will take the check.
We will take the check. But you know what I'm saying? But if it's, hey, I'm having this amazing wine, and my sharing, I'm sharing within those three pillars.
Well, kind of what you're saying is interesting because the big brand, when we say the big brands, well, they started off small. They started off, they had to come to the valley and they were doing their thing and they had to build their thing. And so they're conglomerates now, right? So we're the Mendavis, who are the pillars of the Napa Valley, their family. Now there's going to be new pillars. There's a new generation that they, through their work in the years past, have people have grown to love these brands, and then they take it, and that's the evolution. It's really the evolution of life. Like, it's not even, regardless of the culture or the genders doing it, is that people fall in love with things that people have done, and they take it and then they put their spin on it. And they put their label on it, and they put their brand on it. And now we need to be voices to push those people to the forefront as well, to say, hey, we're doing quality things too. We're doing, great things too in the valley and around the world, right? There was the lady, the Filipino winemaker that was at your event. She had a Chardonnay. I can't remember her name. I don't know if you remember.
Justine.
Justine? Yeah.
Yes.
I really enjoyed her Chardonnay. It was really good.
Yeah, she's amazing. So what makes Kabayan wines, she's amazing.
Okay.
And the beauty about Justine that I just love is that when you talk about passion, that's it right there. So from, she studied at Fresno State, dug in here in Napa, has worked all parts of the cellar and all parts of the wine industry in itself. And then started to put out her own brand. And the beauty about her brand is that she also plays kind of homage to her culture. So her wines are particularly and intentionally made to pair well with Filipino food. And so she's very intentional in that, in the way that she makes her wine, to make sure, because she's very familiar with her cultural profile,
Exactly.
flavor profiles. And so what better person to be able to make sure that they can pair the wine, with that from a cultural perspective, and at the same time have amazing wine that everyone can enjoy. And I mean, and it just seems like under 30.
Yeah.
Like, a young
yeah.
girl, a young woman in wine. So those are the people, those are the stories that I want to be able to have someone to talk about, because you walked away saying, wow, I really enjoyed her wine. And if you wouldn't have been able, you would have.
And I would have never known it had I not known you and tapped into
It'll
it'll
take you some time to probably get to Justine or something. But that's what I mean by, it's just so small things. If you come to the house, and some of the wines I may have, just even at the house, it's from a small, where is this? Oh my gosh, so they have a winery that is, you live here, and you be like, man, I didn't even know anything about it.
Right.
That's paying homage to a smaller producer.
And we need those voices as well, because you don't want these people to die out because they couldn't survive, right? Because this is a business at the end of the day, right? And there is a bottom line. And so we want to make sure that when these people are coming in, that they're able to get sustain and get their brand out there, and their voices and their labels tasted and seen and heard, and then let the market choose what the market wants to choose. But oftentimes, people love to, in business, people love to say, well, They like to tout that, you didn't do good enough. But it's hard to get, if you're not in people's faces, how do we know you're there? Right. If I didn't taste it, right? So now that I know that, I'm going to get a bottle of her wine, right? I'm going to be specific about supporting that one, not because of anything else, but I like it, right?
I like it. At the end of the day, and it has a story, right? Yeah. And so sometimes I love to make sure that these stories are being told, because wine to me is more than just this bottle and more than what's in it. It's the passionate love that comes behind it is what kind of excites me about wine. So I love to hear and tell the stories behind the labels and be able to share those stories. So it's not just, we just, just like even Matt said, this is known for, talked about the label. It's something. Pretty much every bottle has a story. It's just sometimes finding what that story is, And I would say, we're talking about the wine here, it says from Australia. Before I moved here, I didn't even know that other places produce wine. I was just a novice. I'm a complete novice. I mean, I've drinking place from Australia, South African wine. Yep. I was at a dinner the other night when this lady from South Africa, and I was telling her about the first time I had South African wine. It was last year. A South African Shannon would change your life.
Yeah, it was so good, and so those are the things that I really want to make sure that are highlighted, because there's brands and there are regions all around the world who are doing amazing things, and we just want to make sure that people know about it, so we can, because the industry is taking a hit right now.
Industry is taking a hit,
and but that every industry has its ebbs and flows, right? So I don't believe it's going to die off, but it does have to make an adjustment, and in those times, that's where you tend to find new labels and new brands who are going to emerge out of the ashes. And they're going to come out, and they're going to be like, whoa, where did this come from? But they've always been there, right?
Or they're or they're taking a step back, They're maybe going back to their roots of what they did before. Some people are rebranding, right? Some people are selling off. I got an email the other day. It's a smaller winery up in Calistoga, Brian Arden. And it was just kind of sad to read it, but it was, hey, we're going to still produce wine, but we're going to take our tasting room away. You know what I'm saying? So it's those little small things. They're going to still continue to produce wine, so you can still join their wine club. You can still do, but I was a member there, you know, when I first moved here. So I would go and sit on the patio at Brian Arden as a member and enjoy wine. And, you know, and so just those small changes, but we're starting to get more and more places that are changing, you know, and so that's one tasting room less in Calistoga that comes off of my list of recommendations.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. So tell us more about, you know, your journey. So you're here, you have the Tish Around Town, of course. Oh, excuse me. You want some more? I need some more.
You need more. I got
okay,
more.
Okay.
I got more.
Yeah, I definitely need more. So you have Tish Around Town.
Yep.
And then you have the Women in Wines, the BIPOC.
Yep, the BIPOC. Yep.
So now that you have these three branches that you're kind of governing under, where has that journey taken you outside of your normal things that you weren't even on your list of? I thought I'd be doing this. Like where has it taken you?
I just say, just in general, Napa has taken me. In general, Napa has opened just doors for me. I probably started shooting kind of more content outside of what I thought I would shoot. In the aspects of when I got out here, I thought I was just gonna do some events, do some event planning, and like do a few tours. But it's taken me now to look bigger, better, and bolder. You know, so now, you know, something that Celebration Women in Wine started out as a tour with 20 wine enthusiasts coming from across the United States to immerse themselves in the experience that I curated. Now it's turned into a 3-day event series. So, so just, just even that, in my mind, in my mind, it was just like, okay, well, I'll be here, then I can still do my wine tour. You know what I'm saying? No, now it's an event series. It was something I wanted to do for the community. So I just think just expansion, more notoriety. I mean, I have your podcast, you know, today, shout out, meet them in Napa. But then I'm blessed to have another podcast to record this afternoon. Like, I woke up this morning just with gratitude because I'm just like, I'm spending my Monday doing what I love.
Drinking in a...
cheers to that. I mean, like sometimes I can't put it in words as into the experiences I've had since I've been here and what has been able to happen. I mean, the places I go, the events I get invited to, the people that I meet, like, for me, like, I can meet a winemaker and they're like my Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying? And so sometimes you meet these winemakers, or even meeting the gentleman the Gordon when it was
Gordon Huther.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so you see his statues all around town. Yeah. But to meet him, I was just like, it's the dude
you
with
come
the
into the
statues.
Barbershop and then it's like there he is, and that's I tell people I have such a privilege. I don't want anybody to think or try to have the journey that I have. I have such a privileged position when I came out here. I got to stand behind a chair and they just came in and I got to meet them. And, of course I am who I am. So I'm hard not to like, I think.
Yeah.
Don't ask any of my exes, but
your wife like you. Shout out to
my wife
Lee.
loves me. Yeah.
She like him some days.
And I love my wife. Days. Yeah, I love my wife. But yeah, no, true story. So, but like you were saying, I was telling somebody with a conversation, I think on the other episode, I was like, there's people who are Napa famous.
Yes.
Right? It's like
there are Jay-Z. Like, I just be like, I'm like, Jay-Z just walked in the room. Hey, Jay-Z even know me. Hey, Tish, how are you?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We do have those moments, I think. And, because I always say that winemaking, that's another thing that I love, like part of the stories and stuff like that is, I just think from the vine, the process from the vine to the bottle, to your table, God, it's so many people that touch that bottle or have influence over what happened in that bottle that it's special. It's more than just a bottle and what's in it. you know. And so, but so to be able to be in the presence of the individuals that make this wine, or they market this wine, or they distribute this wine, or, you know, they sell this wine in all aspects. They do experiences in tasting rooms. There's so many aspects. The viticulturists, the people who touch the vines, you know. I'm lucky enough to live on a vineyard, so I can look out sometimes and watch people, they work, and I go out there and I'm like, what are you doing? So I can, on hand, pruning season, I go out and I prune with them. You know what I'm saying? I'm able to go out and pick. It's 2:00 in the morning and they're picking, and I'm out there in my pajamas picking too. You know, and so it's a, you know, being able to see and touch that, that's what I think that Napa has given me. Like, it just gave me, like, the sky's the limit. It just gives me that the sky's the limit.
It's one of the last industries where it's still the oldest industry in the world, with where it involves the earth. And you can't speed it up.
No,
you can't AI it.
No.
You can't. You just have to do what the earth. Did it rain enough? Hopefully it rained enough.
Hopefully it rained enough.
Hopefully the sun's shining enough.
Yes.
Hopefully, you know, all these things are still depending on, and it's such a, like, I understand your appreciation of it, because it's such a beautiful process to watch, to grow. Like, it's a process. It's not just, you know, you don't just get on the computer, hey, I built a website, it's dope, yeah, I can appreciate it, right? Even the podcast, there's a lot going on in the podcast behind the scenes, but this is something that takes 4 seasons to happen. And you meet the people, and nobody becomes a winemaker to become rich. Nobody, you know, even back when you were talking about the women, the lady that, the Filipino winemaker, and other winemakers. Nobody gets into this industry
to make money,
to be rich. I mean, we hope to make money. Yeah.
But nobody comes into it
like, I'm going to be rich. This is not like going to Wall Street. You actually have to love the process of what you're doing. And so and it also has given me a newfound respect. For not just for the wine itself, but for the people who are doing it. I respect the people who are in this industry so much, because you don't know the ups and downs of what they're going through year in and year out.
So many ups and downs.
And the challenges
every year. It changes every year.
The people and the pieces that are shoveling around. And that even goes to the restaurant industry, right? I'm at a restaurant and I go somewhere else and I see the person that served me at this other restaurant at this one, and he's like, and then I go to another one.
They cut my hours.
He's telling me I'm going over here, right?
Here now,
so it's a level of respect that I have. And one of the things I will say, this is kind of like a side note, didn't even mean to bring this up, but when people come here who aren't from here, and they come and they just feel, you know, really high and mighty, and they want to throw maybe money around and it's like, have a little bit of respect for the people who are bringing you your food. Show a little bit more respect for that bottle when it comes to the table. Because,
that tasting room person, that person who's in that tasting room, you know, they work off of sales and stuff. They're not there for their health. You know, I mean,
it's not just about an upsell.
It's not about an upsell.
Business. It's survival.
But they love what they do.
They're doing it because they love to be there.
They love it because they do it because they love it. You know, and they tell the stories. They are there. Some of these wineries, they work on such a shoestring of employees. You know, you have it that the CEO is the CFO, is the tasting room, and then she gonna also take you on a tour. I mean, you know, and they got the
same boots on that the person in the field picking the grapes. They're not coming in with shiny shoes and suits. Yeah, they're dressed like winemakers, you know.
Yes.
And so that,
the winemaker uniform.
Yeah, that just
had to go your jacket,
right,
and some jeans and some boots.
And some boots, right? So that really shifted my whole understanding of what's going on. So back to you. You had some amazing things that happened, and we're not going to let this go without you talking about it. You were written up in Forbes magazine.
Shout out!
Come on, we cheers into that one. Come on, there's a lot of cheers going. Yeah, Forbes magazine.
Yes.
What was that like? Who did the write up? How did that even come about?
Shout out to Noel Burgess.
Noel, yeah.
I mean,
he's doing a lot of dope things. Shout out.
That's our brother. He is around the country, bringing great content from events from around the country. At the same time, has a great voice from a writing perspective. He has a series called, Black History, 365 days a year. And so he wants to be able to continue to highlight people of color all year round. It's more than just in February. You know, and so that's where the premise of that came from.
That's one of my problems with Black History Month. But we'll
talk about that. We'll do that on the next segment. Do that on the next segment. So, you know, one of the things that Noel, you know, just kind of reached out, and he sent, you know, he'll privately kind of send the questionnaire and say, I would like to feature you, you know, at some point in time with, you know, within the series and stuff. And I just, you know, I answered the questions heartfelt, you know, but I feel like if anyone's ever told my story, his intro to my story,
it was good.
Was like, I mean, I had tears, and it was, you know, and it was so interesting. Today, I texted one of my first photo shoots, truly for Tish Around Town. Is interesting enough is that I did it in 2020, and I did it like February of 2020. Didn't know that those pictures would still live on. Didn't know that I was gonna need those because of how my brand would grow and stuff. And so I texted the gentleman that took those pictures. We went to Grambling together, and I was like, hey, and I was like, we're in Forbes. I was like, put this on your resume. And I said, I know I've been featured in some different things in your pictures. And I said, but we are in Forbes. Yeah. And he was like, I'm crying reading this, you know? So I say that to say it's amazing. You know, Forbes was always like, I always be like, I had been mentioned in Forbes before. And I've also like been quoted in Forbes before, but I was like, man, I want to be featured in Forbes. Yeah. And I was like, check. Like, now I got to get a new goal. Now I got to get a new goal.
So your phone been ringing off the hook or what?
I mean, you know, the DM's been blowing.
The DM's been blowing up.
You know, I've got so many like messages of like how proud they are of me, you know, because I don't really realize until someone like tells me my story back. They was like, you do know that, you know, you embarked on a second career and you did such and such and such, and you did. And I'll be like, well, yeah, but I mean, anybody can do that. They'd be like, no. Yeah. People can't just move across country and throw caution to the wind and engage in a whole new community and be okay. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Let me tell you something. I grew up 15 minutes from here.
Right. And this is still a no world.
The only reason why I came is because I had a relationship with someone who was from here, and he asked me to come. I would have never came.
Right.
You know, I wouldn't have came. You know, I mean, I might have come out here and ate and, you know.
Ate and kick it and,
But to actually be a part of the community. So, the heart and your courage was way more than mine.
Wow, thank you.
There was, because even when I came, I was still close enough to where I had, you know, family and friends and connections to where it wasn't like I was just doing a whole new thing.
Right.
But what I found is I was doing a whole new thing. You know.
Yeah, when you get out here, you realize the unicorn that you are. You know, I mean, like I say, I always love the, you know, so where do you live? And I just like, I live in Napa. And I love, this is a good backhanded comment. So Fairfield, Vallejo?
Like, yeah, that's where you came from?
like, are you just saying Napa because like you're like 15, 20, 30 minutes away? No, I live in Napa. I mean, you need to see my life. I mean,
so with the Forbes magazine, you were saying how you had, you know, people reaching out, telling they're proud of you and different things like that. So, I mean, I can just imagine, I know my time is coming soon, whether it's Forbes or whatever it is, just being acknowledged for the work that you put in, right? Because nobody sees the bleeding, the crying, right? The on the phone with your mama,
right?
As long as you don't say nothing about LeBron James.
As long as I sit on LeBron James.
But you know, so you know, what is that like as far as just how is it propelling you and how is it energizing you? And creatively, what is it giving you to do new creatively? Like, how are you going to expand on what Tish Around Town is doing from that?
So it was, you know, I titled my own post about, you know, sharing about it is, you know, this is a mama I made it moment. I always have these little moments in my world of wine. I'll be like, mama, I made it. This is big, mama. You know, you may not understand this, but mom, I'm being recognized amongst my peers. You know, last year, I think year before last, I got recognized by Wine Business Monthly, you know, and, you know, mom can't understand that, but industry-wise, mama, this is good. Mama, this is good. Mama, this good. This good. You know, and so Forbes is something that, you don't need a whole bunch of explanation with. You know, it's Forbes. They are particular about, you know, what they write about, how they write about, their contributors. And, you know, so it's a good feeling, as into how it will continue. It gave me kind of the fuel and ammunition I needed, and I felt seen. I felt seen. I felt that it was something that people can actually see. Like, I'm here. You know, I joke and laugh, and I'm like, guys, I'm drinking more than just wine out here in Napa Valley. You know, I know you see my content. I'm cheers as I'm going. I'm in.
Yeah, we only gonna post the good stuff.
Come on now. Come on now. But I am doing more. That's one of the things. That's why I'm seriously, like, don't hold me to it, guys, but I'm seriously thinking about doing a vlog, because I want people to see, like, what a day today is for me. Yes, it's fun at the end of the day, because like when you do a job that you love, it doesn't feel like work, you know. And for most people, it doesn't look like work. What I got to do, I got to go to a winery and shoot some content, and also check out their experience to determine if I'm going to put them on my tour, or where they will fit, or why. You know, not a bad day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But you be hustling. You be hustling because you missed your haircut appointment. And we charge our customers. When you come to the barbershop, you miss your appointment.
I know, he was
we
so
do
good to
charge, but you was like, I gotta print these things, and I got.
I'm on the brink. I was on the brink of Celebration Women of Wine,
guys.
guys.
You was about to have. I said, go on. I already know. You know.
And I don't miss my appointment. I may be a little late.
I still want my money.
Shut up. Shut up. Whatever. You get good tips, so whatever.
You know.
And my hair be fly. I get so many compliments on my hair. I can say,
Thank
as
you.
me going natural, you know.
Yeah.
I get a lot of compliments.
Thank you very much. So you have Forbes. We got Tish Around Town. We got great relationships. We got great food. Give me 5 years from now.
Ooh.
Give me 1 year from now.
Okay.
We don't need your 5-year plan. But give me your 1 year. What do you want to be doing next month at this time? What would?
Okay, so kind of where direction of Tish Around Town is going in the next year or two. So we've done the first Celebration Women of Wine event series, right? So already nailing down on the dates for next year. So it's happening again.
Okay.
I am putting together a rosé wine stroll.
Rosé wine stroll.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And shout out to Compliment, has always been a great partner. They actually have a Mr. Pink event that happens in April, and then I host that with them. So of course the partnership is great. So I host that with them. But in June, on National Rosé Day, which is the second Saturday of June every year annually, I'm gonna turn downtown Napa pink. We're gonna have some pink fun.
Okay.
So that's kind of like my next thing that I'm working on. Okay. So
that's happening this June?
This June.
Okay.
This June.
Watch it. You know I'm gonna be there. I ain't gonna have no pink, but I'm gonna be there.
But you can wear a little pink.
I get some pink shoes.
You
get
some pink socks. You get some pink socks.
Yeah.
Get you some pink socks. Just get you some pink socks.
No, I'm not anti-pink. I'm just messing with you.
Yeah, get you some pink socks.
I'll get the Cameron, the old mink coat. Remember? Yeah. Get Cameron. You see send me that pink coat.
It's gonna be a little warm, but
I know in June it will be. Yeah.
But so I have that, and then I do want to establish one more annual event for the fall. So ideally, I want Tish Around Town to have a minimum of 3 kind of annual events that I'm able to kind of build up over the years. At the same time, my official website will be launching very soon. I've just kind of put that on the back burner. But that will also include my wine tours. So I do put together quite a few itineraries now, just basically based on word of mouth. But I will be expanding that a little bit more, that more of my tours and stuff will be out there. So I have one of the tours that I do is called Shades of the Valley. And so with Shades of the Valley, you're able to see the amazing shades of this valley. And so you're able to take a tour and experience Napa from my eyes, but with people of color. Okay. And so in all different capacities, whether they own the brand, whether they're the winemaker, whether they are running the tasting room, you will be touched by people that look like you, and you can hear those stories from that angle, you know. So it's just little pockets and pieces. I'm going to be launching a wine education class because I think that I want to have an opportunity for people, if they do want to learn about wine. I always say Tish Around Town is a soft place to land. I have a great one-on-one class that I like to just teach, and it's fun, it's interactive, but then people will be armed with good information when they go off to go tasting,
Yes.
And so they're going to be talking about, a little bit of, a few tasting notes. They're going to talk about the AVAs in Napa. And so they'll truly understand, yes, when you're driving down 29 and you see those burgundy signs, that's the AVA. You know that you're in. So you know what Rutherford is. You know what, Howell Mountain is. You know what Spring Mountain is. And so just arming people with a little bit more information for when they are out there tasting and having a good time. So that's kind of like the evolution. So basically, Tish Around Town will be events. It's basically events, concierge services. And then, at the same time, I host events and do some things. And then I also plan in the background for people too. I have 20 plus years of project management experience. That in itself, I also can come on board and I contract and help people with planning their events.
Okay.
So yeah, and then I shoot content creation. I do all of the things.
Have you plan? I want to do a dinner. Plan a nice dinner.
Yep.
For the have an annual dinner.
Yep, for your podcast.
Friends
Yep.
and family and people in the valley where we come and do some things. Yeah, so we're gonna have to connect and
we
talk
can
about that.
collaborate on that.
We can do that.
Yeah, and so that's the beauty about this place too, is that it's not short of how can we collaborate.
Mm-hmm.
Tish, what do you need? I have people literally, Tish, what do you need? That's what people walk up to me. Hey, I see you're having and da-da-da-da-da. What do you need? I can't make it, but what do you need? Is what's been the beautiful, and that's a beautiful, that's a beautiful thing.
And I love it too that most people, I will say this, by doing this podcast, most people who are like that, they don't want to be on the camera.
They don't want to.
They don't want any of the notoriety. They understand that if it's feeding the valley, it's feeding everyone. Everyone's gonna get a piece somehow, some way of whatever is going on. Their brand is gonna be at the forefront, or more events. It's just a place. It's a grown up playground.
So the beauty about the what I need and how it kind of transpired in the Celebration Women of Wine, I was able to basically bring in 3 wineries comped because somebody covered their taste. Tish, what do you need? I was like, I have a few small wineries that done. I'll pay the tasting fee. Not a problem. And so you get more people like that. You got to know a guy. We know a few guys here. So, yes.
So, okay. So,
all right.
Last question.
All right.
What do you want the people to know before we get out of here about Tish? What you got in the future? Just whatever it is.
Keep drinking wine, guys.
Keep drinking wine.
Keep drinking wines. Keep being curious about wines. I want people to be curious. The curiosity is what propels this industry, I think. So, if you are curious about wine, keep being curious. If you want to know more about wine, seek out, do tastings in your community. Go to your local wine shop. I love a Total Wine. Also, they got rid of their DEI because my brother was working in the DEI group. Yeah, it's fine to go to a Total Wine, but find a local wine shop. Find a local wine shop.
Support your local wine shop.
Local wine shops.
Yeah.
That's how they eat. That's how we can keep. And then they're having events at their wine shop. Then you become part of that community. That community continues to grow. So stay curious, people. Stay curious about wine, and I think that it will see the ecosystem, and we'll continue to see the ecosystem. So yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you for coming today. I usually say this at the beginning of my podcast, but I'm saying it at the end on this one because I forgot to say it in the beginning. But I tell all my guests who sat down with me, you guys are my most important guests. And I truly mean that. I don't care if I book Barack Obama next week. You guys are my most important guests because you took a chance on me. And you sat down with me and you partnered with me just because of the community. And Napa is really, it breeds itself with the partnership. But you guys just said yes. And you sat down with me, and I'm so thankful and I'm grateful for you. And I'm probably more excited to see what you're gonna do than you are even doing it. I am. I'm excited to watch. I'm from the sideline.
Watch me work.
I'm champion. And of course, we see each other all the time anyway. So, right. But I am
yelling down the street.
Yeah.
Hey, hey, we have
you were with your friend the other day, and I was like, Tish, you were like, hey. Yeah, you jumped around, yeah. And I think you might have had a little couple of glasses already.
I was a few sheets in.
Yeah, it's like who's yelling my name down the street? Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, so that's just how it is out here, right? And so every time I see you, I'm gonna yell your name. And
that's what we do. I'm always around town, people. I'm always around town.
When my people are in town, when anybody's in town that knows me, they come in, they fool with me, she's gonna be the one I'm gonna tap you in with to make sure that you have a curated experience and a great experience here in Napa Valley. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for supporting Meet Me in Napa podcast. I'm gonna bring you great content. I mean, sky's the limit with what we're doing. We are in a renaissance right now in Napa Valley, and I'm glad that we're a part of it. I'm glad we're building it, and I'm glad that you guys are here to see it. I'm your host, Jeremy Jackson with Tish Around Town. Shout out to Compline, a wine tasting room, the restaurant. Go to Compline and go get that chicken sandwich and that burger. Oh, my God.
The burger, the carbonara, too.
The carbonara.
Oh, my gosh.
Go get it.
Just go get it.
Just go get it. Go down there. Matt Stamp, thank you so much for being gracious and kind enough to let us just be here and use your space. And we'll see you next time.
Cheers.